Coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast. When you empower people to grow as leaders in your organization, they feel a sense of ownership.
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform. If this is the first time you're watching, here's what Spiro is. It's a software platform. It's designed to help you run your day-to-day real estate media business. And really, ultimately, we want to help you grow and scale if that's your goal. Welcome to this week's episode. I'm your host, Craig Magrum, and normally our co-host and owner and founder of Spiro, Todd Kivimaki, is with us. He is out today. So I have a very special guest. Actually, she's not a stranger probably to you. She's been on the podcast before. Jess Paxson, Director of Operations at Wow Video Tours. Welcome, Jess.
Hi, Craig. Happy to be on. Of course, nervous as always, but excited to be here and talk about some stuff that I really enjoy.
If this face for radio can do the podcast, you can do the podcast.
Perfect.
No reason to be nervous.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah. So normally we do Spiro updates. Obviously, Todd handles that. So we're going to forego that this week, but just keep your ideas coming. We do have a suggestion board in your Spiro portal that you can, if there's some sort of feature or, some functionality that you would love to see in Spiro, you can put it on that suggestion board and it can be upvoted by others. So we want to encourage you, get into your Spiro portal and you can do that. And if you don't have a Spiro account, you can sign up for one for free. It doesn't cost you anything to have the account. It's just once you start processing orders and send those out is when those charges eventually will kick in. So anyway, just want to let you know about that. All right. So this week, if you recall the past couple of years, at the beginning of the year or the end of the year, depends. Usually, I think we record it at the end of the year and it airs at the beginning. We talk about goals for the year and the importance of a goal setting. So we did that, at the beginning of 2025. Well, we're actually now past the halfway point, but we wanted to do an episode just to remind you, check in on the goals that you set back at the beginning of the year. Where are you at with those? How are you coming along? Do you need to tweak those a little bit? Do you have new goals? So just kind of a general reminder, check in on the goals that you'd set at the beginning of the year. And then we can do course corrections if we're not quite where we need to be, or maybe we're on track. That's fantastic. Or you have some new ones that you want to implement. So just to get a general reminder on that. But we wanted to talk about one of our goals at our real estate media company called Wow Video Tours. And here to help us do that, Jess, who I've already introduced. And it's I think a challenging topic, Jess, and that's the issue of raising leaders in your organization. And we had a goal this year of raising some leaders in a very specific part of our business. You want to give just a real brief overview and then we could talk about the history and where we're at with that?
Yeah, sure. So this year, one of our major goals was raising up leaders for regional trainers for each of our regions. So we felt that it was a good opportunity for us and for them to come up within the company, do more of what they enjoy. They're out there doing this every single day. Most of these photographers have been here 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to plus years now. Mm-hmm. So we have some that are just really good leaders. They want to do more with us. So we implemented the regional trainer program. We brought them all in. We had some long discussions on what they felt would be best. And then we put our best foot forward and implemented that program and have had, I think we started off this year in February or March, hiring 6 new photographers for, kind of spread out amongst the regions. And they each onboarded and trained these people up and, took them through skill progression. And we found some gaps along the way that we had to address that we're working on still now. We do kind of quarterly checkups with them. Actually, most of the time I'm talking to each of them weekly. Mm-hmm. So we're addressing those concerns and then kind of just building that and building them as we go.
So let's kind of go back to the beginning of all of this. So
Hmm.
anyone that's watched the podcast for a while has probably heard or seen that we had a position that was basically like a director of training, was a director of
Hmm.
production. And like any company and like any roles change, they evolve, they morph into new things. So we had a little bit about the history of this. We had this position of director of training and director of production.
Hmm.
Um, so it's evolved now more into a regional trainer uh, type of model, with
Hmm.
you as our director of operations kind of heading that up. Can you kind of explain what was the genesis, or what was the first steps in making that evolution from director of production to regional trainers? How did the foundation for that get laid?
Sure. So we saw, having one person oversee all the different regions that we're in, that can be difficult. That's a
No joke.
that's a huge task for anyone. I mean, that's coordinating so many different things. That's trying to be out and training in so many different regions. And where you're doing a bulk hiring at once to try and get these people up and ready in the field during busy season, I mean, it's a very, very difficult task to accomplish and get people moved through the system in the amount of time that you need to do so. So if I'm here and I'm the trainer and I have 6 different regions to get to, how quickly can I get these people up and
Right.
running and making money? Well, that's a little difficult to do if there's only one of me, right? So we thought that there was a really good opportunity to take some people in the company that have been with us for quite a while and want to do more and want to prove like the skill set that they have and teach others, because each of these people in the region really care about the other photographers that they work with and the
Hmm.
clients. They want the quality to be a good standard amongst the regions. So like they go out and they shoot photo video, and these are the guidelines that they want everyone to shoot because their skill set's so high, right? So their care level is through the roof because they
Hmm.
want that consistency across the board. So that way we can send any shooter out to any appointment and everybody's getting pretty much the same quality.
Right.
So these are people that we recognized and realized really wanted to take that skill set and to teach on and train on and do more, earn more, just help more.
Right. So there was kind of a step in between the director of training and the regional trainers, that as we were looking at growing that position, or evolving that position, and recognizing that one person can't service, how many different markets do we have? Uh,
Gosh,
is it
dang.
like six or yeah?
Yeah,
It's
six
like,
or seven. Yeah, you
so,
kind of lose track when it's quite a bit, but
right. and,
yeah.
and and when your home base is it literally in the middle of a cornfield outside
Hmm.
of outside of Lima, Ohio, which a lot of people had
Hmm.
never even heard of, for that one person to travel to some of our major markets, including one multiple states away,
Yeah.
that was hard. So the first step wasn't it actually bringing on an assistant to?
Yes. Because
Yeah,
yes, it was very difficult, like for that one person to manage to get everything coordinated and done, give
sure.
feedback, quality, keep quality control up. So it was, yeah, it was a lot. So we brought another one on for assistance with that.
Yeah. So you might have a situation where your business is growing. Maybe like when I was doing this on my own, I was a one man show to begin with.
Hmm.
Eventually hired on another photographer, and I got to the point where the two of us even were kind of maxed out with what we could do. And you come to that point in your business where you have to make a decision. Do I remain a more of a boutique and smaller shop, or do I take Todd's approach, which is I want to shoot as many listings as humanly possible, and grow it, and you remove yourself from the photographer position, the photographer
Hmm.
owner, and you start hiring a team to do that and grow. Well, then
Hmm.
you've got that question of, well, now how do I train all of these people? And that's what WoW has faced over the years. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we went from director of training to
Hmm.
hiring an assistant for that director of training,
Hmm.
to now recognizing, hey, how awesome would it be to have people in each market that we can designate
Yeah.
as the trainers?
I will say, so as you all are growing and you're bringing on more photographers and you're taking and removing yourself from that position and you begin to train others, I think a really important foundation to have is, and this is something that WOW has. And I think the reason we're able to grow and be so successful with it is because of the training program that we have, all the
Okay.
documents we have, all of the material that we have created for the new photographers and the trainees to be able to review and to train on, and for them to be able to go into that and know exactly what our photo guidelines are, our video guidelines are. So if you are growing and if you are hiring and adding on new people, the documentation is so incredibly important, because you want to be able to then eventually take yourself out of that position as well as a trainer. You want to be able to do what we're doing and bring someone in as a regional, give them all of that documentation and all those guides to be able to follow. So that's just one thing I recommend having as well, like if in building that structure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, having something written, I mean, it also gives the added benefit of consistency in the work
Yeah.
and what clients can expect from you. And that's one of the things that even with our training program, one of the challenges I've run into, like in the market that I shoot in and do business development for, is agents can be incredibly loyal. Realtors can be incredibly loyal. Sometimes they price shop. We know that.
Sure.
But when a realtor really gets comfortable with you as part of their team, they don't want anyone else shooting for you. And
Mm-hmm.
even if another photographer has a really good eye and some good talent and
Mm-hmm.
really they're providing the same quality that you are as the photographer,
Yeah.
the agent somehow still in their mind says, no, your photography is different. You just have a
Yeah.
certain eye, which there might be a little bit of difference here and there, but
Yeah.
it's negligible if,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge. We all have our
yeah,
favorites and things like that that we go through, but yeah, to keep that good consistency across the board, you have to have everything completely laid out and know what it is that each person's supposed to do when they're out there and how you're supposed to shoot and stuff like that. So,
right. So we've got this foundational training program for the
hmm
photographers. Now, just as we've been training regionals and bringing up leaders in the
hmm
WOW organization, what is there documentation for the trainers? Do
yeah,
we?
so I'm glad you asked.
Okay, all right.
That's something. So when we brought these regional trainers on, they've got experience in the field. They've been with us, and um, but as I'm doing these check-ins and stuff like that with them, and actually we just added a new person as a trainer as well. He was one of the new shooters a few months back, but he's really soared and he's actually able to assist more now and
Wow.
help with training. So one of the things him and I were chatting about is like, what do you need most from me to help you feel successful?
Hmm.
And one of those things was just knowing more like what I need to do on day one with this person. What do I need to do on day two? What do I need to do on day three? Like, how many training appointments do they need to be on with me? What skills do we start with? What do I start discussing with them first? So, we've got the guides and the videos that are very extensive, but those are aimed more towards the new hire, not the trainee.
Right.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm building that documentation for the trainee for day one checklist, day two checklist, day three checklist, in order to get them by week 2 up and running to be successful and for us to be a little more hands off. What does that progression for a trainer look like? So those are the guides and the things that we're working on right now. I've got about 70% of it done, but right now it's just been like, so this is going to help me. This is going to help me, not only me, but the trainer, but the time that I'm spending on the phone doing these calls and things like that with the regionals, checking like, did you do this today? Did you do this? Well, this will allow me to be a little more hands off as well, for them to have that checklist. And one of the goals we always have in business is to be able to take ourselves out of things so we can do other things, right? To focus so we can grow and build. Well, this is just something that I saw we have a gap for. And in order for me to be able to free up some of my time doing this coordinating and making sure things are going smoothly, let's just create a checklist. they can check this. I can check in on it. They can submit it. They can submit it with feedback. It can be a form, whatever it is that we need it to be. It's being built out right now. And like we like to use ClickUp and some other like Google Doc forms and stuff. So it'll probably be in that kind of format to where they can go to this link. They can submit the form, put all their feedback in, and then it'll kick me an email. It'll be live feedback. They don't have to always call if I'm not available. I mean, that happens. We're all in meetings here and there, right? But we want to stay connected. So that was just one of the inefficiencies that we kind of found that we're building out right now. So then as we continue to grow, it's going to go much smoother.
Let me shift gears a little bit because I just had this thought pop in my mind, and we didn't talk about this, so I'm throwing a curveball.
That's okay, Craig.
I'm throwing a curveball.
This is just off the cuff conversation. This is stuff.
It is. So a lot of times, we talk about retaining clients. In our business, we want that long-term relationship with the realtor. We don't want them bouncing around. We're going to provide VIP care, for our higher value. So in our business, in our industry collectively, when we start hiring other photographers, typically what the owner does is they'll make it a 1099 position, a contractor, right? It's more rare. It's not unheard of, but more rare to have photographers on as actual W-9s, or here in the States, W-9s or employees. So in the back of my head, I've got this question: is there a challenge in keeping contractors as part of your team long-term, like we want to keep clients long-term? Have we found over the years that it's been a challenge to retain good photographers?
Well, I mean, we've had people come and go, right? But these trainers, like, I guess, I mean, they've been with us a while now. Like, we're building them up. Like, everybody wants to grow, right? Typically, when you start a profession, it's like, okay, what's my opportunity here? What's my income potential, and what's my growth potential? So, yeah, it's not always easy to keep people if that third one, that growth potential, isn't there. We offer great incentives and like yearly incentives for being here so long, and like pay bumps and stuff like that, just for, I guess, the longevity that they're here. But yeah, I mean, this regional program, they get an hour, they get a pay for training, and then they also get a pay bump for training for the loyalty of checking in on people, doing all the like client quality care that we provide with the clients. They're doing that with these trainees as well, checking in on them, building team bonds and stuff like that. This only helps them and the team. Like, sorry, this is a little new to me. I'm trying to collect my thoughts on this, but this is great because it's helping them build team bonds with the people in their city as well. And they're responsible for that. Like, they're responsible to go out, like to connect with these people, do some group meetings. One of our Charlotte regional trainers, she likes to get people together, pizza night, whatever it is, go over a few things like that people are struggling with. And there's a sense of ownership for her on that. And then
there it is. That was the exact word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And you nailed it. Because I think, when you empower people to grow as leaders in your organization, they feel a sense of ownership.
Yes.
And obviously, yes, increased pay. We all want to increase our pay, but that's not always someone's primary motivator. Sometimes it's just the pride of ownership, or having a leadership role, and the pride in a good way, of seeing, like, being able to build up.
What you're doing is making a difference. That's important to a leader.
Yeah.
Like, I know, at least for me, and I know for you, like, what we want most for the people that we're helping lead is for them to grow and for them to have a sense of belonging and stuff like that in a company and a voice. And that's what we are helping give these people, and to in turn give the people that they are now leading, right? Like, that's probably one of our main goals as a leader is to push that along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, that sense of ownership, the sense that their voice matters. Like, another goal we'll have here soon in the off season is just, let's do a deep dive into our processes for shooting. Like, what can we do to improve? And these regional trainers are going to be able to give all that input. That's going to make an impact and a difference on the company in a positive way. And then in turn, go over into the clients, So it's
Yeah.
full circle.
I think it's awesome that we can have contractors that are empowered to lead with a company and build that camaraderie, because I feel like in a lot of companies, probably independent contractors, they don't mix much with other contractors that they're working for.
Mm,
So to be
sure.
able to build like a team culture, even with contractors,
Hmm.
I mean, how cool is that?
I mean, it's one of the most important things to me is
Yeah.
that people feel like they belong in a group and that they have that family sense and culture. And like, it's something that, with contractors and with everybody spread out in different regions, and some of us in office, some of us, across the world working virtually, whatever it is, like, we try and bring some of that team culture together for everyone. And we know where we have some room for improvement. Those are some other things, goals and stuff that I'm working on right now. um, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons that we are able to keep people here is that team atmosphere, that support that they get. We don't throw them out in the field and tell them to figure it out. There's that support dynamic and team atmosphere and family atmosphere that I hope they feel most days. We're always here for them. So,
Yeah. Do you have any success stories that, from some of
oh
the
gosh.
the people that we've raised up as regionals that might inspire an owner listening to this right now?
I mean, I'm trying to think, Craig, but like, so many of them, I mean, like, they're just loving and enjoying this role. Like the excitement I hear in their voice when they're checking in, and like when these people are being brought up, like, I mean, things that used to take us months to get them approved on, and skill sets. Like, I think
Hmm.
I've heard them say that, it feels like I'm fast tracking this person. Well, it does feel like that because you're there and you're focusing with them and they are being fast tracked. And one of the things that they're proud of is that of for that is that they're now providing this new person a fast track to income. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's why
Yeah.
we all work, right? Like, I mean, for the most part, like,
Sure.
we all have to provide for our family. It's not the only reason, but this, like, the financial goals that they can now set and help this person achieve because they're kind of fast tracking them in a sense. I mean, that's something they're excited about. That's something that they're pumped that they're able to do that for someone else and earn income training in the during the
Hmm.
process. So.
What I love seeing is the regional trainers that want to see, the other vidtographers, we call them vidtographers, on our team get more shoots. So,
Yes.
and it reminds me of, I just saw this clip, and I'm horrible with sports. Some of you have probably seen this clip on YouTube shorts or the reels on Facebook, but he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe it's the Eagles. He was on the
Hmm.
bench, and one of the assistant coaches was talking to him about getting him back in the game because I'm guessing he was a running back or something, because it was something about getting a personal record of most yards in a game, and this coach wanted him to be able to do that. Well, this guy was a veteran. He said no, let the young fellas eat. So what he was doing is he had a chance to get a goal for himself, right?
Hmm.
But he recognized that the young guys, the team was far enough ahead in the score that they were comfortable. They were probably going to win the game, that he didn't need to be in the game. He wanted to see the young rookies get in the game, because if they got in a game, they were guaranteed a certain amount of money or something like that, and getting them the experience and their paycheck and whatnot. And that kind of selflessness is
Yeah.
is
We
huge.
we definitely have regionals like that. I was chatting with one yesterday, and this morning he had shot me a text and was like, "Hey, I'm going out with this person today to do a little bit more training." And I've heard him say multiple times, like, just so selflessly, like, "Hey, I'd rather this person get some work so he can work on his skill sets a little bit more, and I'll just do some feedback hours and training hours and stuff like that in the background." He's like, "But I would prefer that we give this person this, so then that way they're not losing any income and stuff like that." So
Yeah.
yeah, we've had a lot of selfless acts like that it's nice to see them recognize those things. I mean,
Hmm.
that's why we selected the people we did. They are true leaders in that aspect.
Right. You want to get, let me think about how I want to phrase this. You want to get your photographers success. You want to get the realtors requesting them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just hired a guy, in the last few months, Brendan,
Yeah.
to our team. And he came out with me up in my market, and I was just really impressed with, young guy,
Mm-hmm.
very sharp. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think this guy's going to go places. So just last week, Jess, we had a client that was needing a shoot and couldn't get in right away, but we managed to make it work. And I
Mm-hmm.
had gone into the orders to look at her order and see when when the shoot day was and everything. And we have a field in Spiro that allows a realtor to request a certain photographer. So
Mm-hmm.
my goal is, when I get more help in my market, that the realtor will request somebody other than me, because I can't do it all myself, but B, I
Mm-hmm.
want that other photographer to have income opportunities. Well,
Yeah.
when I looked at this order, it was specifically requested Brendan shoot this. I'm like, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, we love to see that. That is the best.
Yeah, it wasn't first available. It was Brendan. He was chosen as the requested photographer, and this is for an agent that does a lot of business. And
That's
this guy,
awesome.
Jesse's been with us, maybe shooting actively 3 months, maybe.
Yes. Yep.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, he's killed it. And Craig, I mean, that's just another like the people we bring on. I mean, hiring is just a whole nother thing. We should do
yeah,
that in another podcast and stuff like that down the road. But man, we could tell when we hired him on, he was motivated. He was going to get this done. He self-serves. He practices. He does things in his off time to get better, to build his skill set, and it's showing because
yeah,
he's getting requested. I've had people email in about him specifically with his customer service and how he shows up, and
yeah.
just he shows up in so many different ways.
And you as an owner, you might get lucky and find that fantastic person, but to have trainers and mentors for that person that will keep them motivated to pour
Mm-hmm.
into them,
Mm-hmm.
that's just going to motivate them even more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cascade effect when Jess, as you're pouring into people that we've identified as people we want to be regional trainers, that
Mm-hmm.
causes them to buy in. They get excited about their work, and then that cascades down to the photographers that they're training and mentoring, and they get
Mm-hmm.
excited and want to do more. So it's just that there's nothing but good things about developing leaders in your
Yeah.
organization and letting go, being willing and trusting. And that's a
Yeah.
huge thing. You got to be able to
Yeah.
trust.
Yes, you do. And these people we selected are people we trust. That doesn't mean you don't check in and verify.
Sure,
That's
sure.
one of, the big things I've learned here. And Steve always says that, what is it? Trust but verify.
Yeah,
But
Ronald Reagan right there.
yeah, so
Trust but verify. Yeah.
trust but verify. But they are, and like most of them, like Craig in Cincinnati called this morning. He was out yesterday just to do a check-in. And it's
Mm,
just nice to hear the excitement in the voice. Like, yes, I think this is because we just did another new hire in Cincy. And so we're like, yep, we think this is a really good fit. Like customer service skills are great. Like they're excited though. They're
mm,
excited to take these people under their wing. They're excited to help more availability for the clients, and for them, and just to build people. Like you can tell leaders just have that built in them. They want to
right.
build people. I think that's important to give that opportunity.
Well, that's awesome, Jess. With the regional trainers, that being one of our major goals, and so with this being the halfway point through the year, and we've had this
Mhm.
goal of raising up regional trainers, what would you say to the person that is maybe toying with some new goals, or maybe they didn't set goals at the beginning of the year?
Mhm.
What's the starting point for getting your goals in mind and then keeping up with them, kind of checking
Sure.
in?
Yeah. I mean, so when you're setting your goals, you also have to ask yourself, why am I setting this goal? What's the reason behind this goal? How long do I think it's going to take me to accomplish this goal? And then typically breaking those things up in steps. Um, because we all want the fast track, right? We all want to get done with things like next day. That's like, I don't know how many times I tell Todd and Steve, I just can't go fast enough. I don't feel like I just want it done now, but like that's not realistic. That's not realistic for any of us hardly. So,
Would you say step one is write it down?
yes, step one is write it down.
Okay.
Write it down, plan it out, hold yourself accountable. Do check ins on your goals, like if not daily, weekly for sure.
Hmm.
See the progress you made. I like to write everything down, whether it's on my whiteboard or I keep a checklist of the goals that I'm setting on Trello and breaking it down in steps. That's how I hold myself accountable. So
Okay.
if you are not holding yourself accountable, sometimes an accountability buddy helps, or verbally saying your goals to someone. So then that way someone else knows what your goal is to help you hold yourself accountable for it. But those
Yeah.
are all really, really key steps in achieving your goals. Writing them down, knowing the reason why that you have this goal, doing your check-ins on it and breaking it up if it's something that's going to take a while to do. For sure, know how long it's going to take you. At least a good um, guess. You need to know that, because then in your mind you're like, okay, well, if this is going to take me 3 months, then I need to start making progress and on it now, because otherwise I'm never going to get there by month 3 if I don't start breaking it up. So breaking
Yeah.
things up, holding yourself accountable, writing things down, and then celebrating the wins when you
Yeah.
hit things. Like that's really important too. Like in order, like as humans, we all want to do good, right? Like we want to feel successful in the goals that we've set. So when you do reach like, step 1 or step 2 out of step 10, you need to celebrate those wins, like those little steps. It's just going to help um, feel that joy.
Keep the
Yeah,
morale up.
keep the morale up. And if you're setting team goals, that's another big one too. These aren't all just goals for yourself, but celebrate the wins with the team too when you have things that you've set for them and they've achieved those. Do not just brush them off. If it's a team goal, that's the biggest way to set yourself up for failure at a company is by not celebrating the wins. You got to celebrate the wins, even the little ones.
So I've been reading a book that Todd mentioned. I've been trying to finish it for the last year. I was horrible. I didn't read for a while, but it's called Soundtracks by
That's a good one.
John Acuff. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there was a section of the book where he was talking about this horrible boss he had, and the time tracked every little thing. When
Yeah.
he went to the bathroom, when he would pour himself a cup of coffee, and this boss was just relentless. And even if he hit goals, it was like, well, it should have been this. You should have hit
Yeah.
this, and nothing was ever good enough. Well,
Mm-hmm.
he ends it by basically saying, I was a terrible boss to myself. It was he wasn't
Yeah.
celebrating his wins.
Yep.
And when
Yep.
it was only looking at the negative, and that's a broken soundtrack.
It
And
is.
yeah, celebrating.
Those soundtracks are so incredibly important too, Craig. Like,
Yeah.
and if you guys haven't read this book, this is a really good book. John has an amazing podcast as well, and weekly newsletter that he sends out. If you guys don't subscribe to those things, I definitely urge you to check it out. It's free; don't cost anything for that newsletter. And then podcast, but the book's great, and he's right. Like the things that you tell yourself daily, they need to be positive. If you're constantly saying, man, I can't do this, it's like me being on this podcast. Well, that's just me telling myself I can't do it. That doesn't mean I can't do it. Like I can do anything if I tell myself I can do any, you know what I mean? I mean, within reason, I can do anything. But anyhow, yes, you have to have those positive soundtracks in order to reach your goals. Like if I go in every day and I'm just like, oh man, like I don't think that I can do this, like, and I do that all the time, guess what? Like I'm not going to want to do it because I don't think I can do it. And I'm just setting myself up for failure. So yeah, those soundtracks are incredibly important to achieving goals.
It takes one step. The first step is the
Yep,
hardest step.
it is.
Like this morning, I've not been exercising the way I need to. And it's like I'm getting older, Jess, and I used to be a super early morning person, and I'm finding more and more I don't want to get out of bed
Yes,
as
I
early as
get
I
it.
used to. And this
Uh-huh.
morning, I'm like, dang it, I know I have to go to the doctor this morning. He's going to ream me out because I haven't been doing what I'm supposed to. Okay, Craig started this morning. Yeah, it's cramming. It's not going to do anything for the doctor's appointment, but I
Mhm.
dragged myself out of bed. I took my brisk walk. I think I was out there maybe 25 minutes. You got to start somewhere. But
Mhm.
as I was walking, I started feeling better. I wasn't
Yeah.
as achy. The blood started flowing. So fixing that soundtrack and taking the first step
Yes.
of the goal that you've got set. If you can get that to that, the goal gets easier.
It does. I know we were talking about this recently. Just the things that I don't like to do is what I start my day with, because I don't like to exercise. So I get up and walk on my treadmill for 2 to 3 miles every morning. I do the dishes because I don't like doing them at night. I'm not going to do them at night. I'm tired. I want to sit down after a long day. I sweep, and those are 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few others, but like
she records a podcast at 9:45 in the morning. She gets that out of the way.
That too. But I start my day with the things that I feel are very challenging for me, because then when I can check those off my list, I'm like, heck yes, I got this done. I can do this. I can do anything. Now my mindset is fresh and ready for work. And when I come home, I know I don't have to do dishes. I know I got to get on that treadmill unless I feel like it. I'm just getting some of the hardest parts out of the day. It's the same way when I come in here. I like to get my really good productivity things done in the morning when my mind is fresh, and like I'm not drugged down. I'm not hitting that 2 o'clock crash or whatever it is. And so, yeah, setting those goals and just holding yourself accountable for them every day. Yeah, you're going to see that progress.
Our guest, Jess Paxson, Director of Operations at Wow Video Tours. We're talking about goals, the halfway point through the year. One of our goals being raise regional trainers to invest in our photographer team. And maybe that's a goal that you have as well. So hopefully this is giving you some great ideas. Jess, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking time. I know your plate is full, so thanks for taking time on the podcast.
It is my pleasure. It's been fun being on with you today, Craig.
Yep. If you've got some goals, we'd love to hear them, and we can check in with you as well. Feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube channel. If you want to drop us an email, you can email us at hello@spiro.media, and we would love to hear from you. Maybe you didn't get some goals written down this year. Well, today is the best day to do that. So write down the goals. You got 5.5 more months to the end of the year. Man, time is flying, Jess.
Yes, it is.
What in the world? Anyway, start today. Write down that goal, and we want to celebrate the win with you. When you hit that goal, drop us an email. The email, Todd and I, hello@spiro.media. We would love to celebrate this with you. So hope that was a good check-in for you guys. Again, Jess, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And I will let you get to the rest of your day. For the rest of you, make sure you take some time to be thankful for the blessings in your life, and take some time to breathe as well. Celebrate the win during that time of breath. All right. You have a great week. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.